For this exercise, you're going to take an existing bouncing ball and add squash and stretch to its movement as it bounces and rebounds back to its original position. To get started on this exercise, you should have downloaded the Squash and Stretch Ball Animate file from the class Moodle page. Now when you double-click to open it up, this will create an Animate document exactly the way the book wants you to have your document set up. Now the only difference between this document and what's mentioned in the book is that I've added a background image just to differentiate it. Once you open it up, one of the first things I would do is to go up to your zoom and let's tell it to show all so we can see the entire area that we're working in. Now if you were to play this document, all you can see is that the ball is bouncing up and down and there's some easing in and easing out. We want to also add some squashing and stretching to the ball as it moves. The first thing we'll do is we'll handle the squashing of the ball. Going down to your timeline, select the middlemost keyframe, and this is the lowest point of contact for your ball. With that keyframe selected, let's choose our free transform tool. The free transform tool is usually located underneath the black arrow selection tool, and when you click on it, it should give you this nice little bounding box around whatever object that you have selected. Now with this tool, you can freely distort the object, but the book is going to show you a more precise way of distorting it by using your transform panel. If you don't see the transform panel over here, you can always go to Window and down to Transform. There it is here. Command T is the keyboard shortcut. And within this transform panel, you can dial in precisely the amount of squashing and stretching that you want to happen. In this case, we want the squashing and stretching to be the same amount. So with the transform opened, let's make sure that the constraints are unlinked. This will allow you to type in a different value for each of the height and the width. We want to stretch this out about 20%. So I'm going to set this value to be 120. Then when I tab over, if we stretch it out or squash it out 20%, we want to bring it in 20%. So we're going to set this value to be 80. So whatever we add to here, we take away from here. This is going to give you a ball that looks nice and stretched and squashed down. The next thing we want to do is to make sure that the bottom edge touches the bottom edge of our stage that we're working on. So with it still selected, let's open up the alignment panel. If you don't see it, you can always go to Window, down to Align. Command K is the keyboard shortcut. And with the thing selected, let's align it to our stage. And we're going to choose the bottommost align, so align to bottom edge. When you click on this, this will automatically bring your object, your squashed ball, down to the bottom edge of your stage. Now that we've established the squash, let's work on the stretch. If you go back down to your timeline, you can see that we've got a slight problem. As it drops down from the starting position all the way down to the first keyframe, all it's doing is squashing out. We want to have it stretch out, and so this means we need to change the key position that it's moving into. To do this, go down to your timeline and select the frame just before that second keyframe. So this will be keyframe number 12 or frame 12. With frame 12 selected, you can right click or two-finger click on it, and let's insert a new keyframe. This will give you a new keyframe right there, and we're going to change up the shape of this. So with that selected, let's open up our transform panel, and from here, let's give it the squashing effect by setting this to be 80% and the stretching effect to be 120%. Again, whatever you do here, you do the opposite and same to here as well. Notice now that this will stretch out our shape that we have. Now as it falls, you can see it stretches out until it hits the edge and automatically squashes down. Now let's give it some stretching motion as it returns back to its original starting position. Going back to our timeline, select the keyframe that has the most stretching to it. So this will be frame number 12. You can then right click or control click on it, and let's copy that frame. This will allow us to copy this stretching motion that's found in this keyframe, And then let's go to the frame that's after our squash. In this case, this will be frame number 14. Right click on it, and let's choose to paste the frame right there. So what we've done is we've copied all of the stretching motion and that we've done to this stretch on frame number 12, and we've pasted the same thing into frame number 14. So with that done, now all we have to do is play it. It stretches out as it falls, it squashes on this one frame, and then automatically returns back up to its original position here. If we hit return, this is what the object looks like. Now when we do this, you'll notice there's one final problem. When it animates and falls, it's easing into the fall, but on the rebound, it's going too slow. It's easing into the rebound, and we want it to ease out. The reason for this is when we copied the keyframe from this first portion, notice that it's easing into this part. But when we pasted that frame into here, it also pasted the easing in motion to here. And we need this part to be easing out. So to fix this, select that 14th keyframe, and let's go over to our Properties panel. And under the effect, you can see that I don't have the option to automatically turn it in. It's set to Custom. So click on Custom, and let's do a Classic Ease, clicking on Classic Eased, and then set the intensity, set the intensity of it to be all the way at 100%. You can see this will curve the line this way. Once it's set to 100%, now we can test our motion, and you can see it bounces appropriately from here. From here, you can also go to Control and test the movie to see it bouncing over and over again. So in closing, it should have a bounce that eases in as it falls and then eases out as it comes back up. From here, you can go up to File and save your document. Let's do a Save As well, and make sure to add your name to it. This Flash file is what you'll upload to Moodle once you finish for your exercise grade.